This Three Beards Media podcast may contain mature themes, and if you're not down with that, we got 3 words for you. Like the podcast. Nailed it!
Hello and welcome back to False Starts with Bill Blank and Chris Shipley. This is episode 10. Bill, how are you doing tonight?
I am swell. I know, tonight's the first night you wore something Iowa State, I think, and I didn't wear anything Iowa.
I know. I've been looking for this hat. I finally found it when I dug a bunch of stuff out of the closet, and then I finally found this hat. So
That is kind of a cool hat, even though it's an Iowa State hat.
I made that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. It's my design, totally rip off, not licensed Iowa State hat and shit that I wear. So
What do you mean rip off?
I stole it. I stole the design online somewhere and then cut it on my vinyl cutter and used a hat press, and it's not legal.
What a piece of shit.
I know. Well, listen.
How do you sleep at night?
Pretty well, actually. Considering the amount of interest I paid on my student loans, Iowa State owes me. So that's how I feel about that.
Well, was that interest though paid to Iowa State, or was that paid to the government?
No, that was to the private banks that bought my loan and held me over the coals for God knows how long. So in my defense, I took a lot of deferments. So I mean, I was working for my old man, so it wasn't like I was getting a steady paycheck there for a while. So
such is life. You got one now, though, right?
I do got one now. That's right. I need to point out a couple things before we get started. First of all, I saw this show up on my timeline today, and we got to give some props to your kid, right?
Oh,
look at that. Dual champion. Tell us about that. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, he was I just found out about him late last night. I wasn't he was out of town. But yeah, it's a couple of that I think is Rugged Pro. That's one of the promotions he wrestles for, and that's his buddy Zay, and him, and they're a tag team, and they got they're the tag team champs in Rugged Pro now. And then
nice.
The other IPW, that's the promotion where he trained, where he started everything, learned everything, and that's the Extreme Championship. So
awesome.
That's the no rules deal. That's the I don't know.
You can be anywhere out on the floor.
I haven't talked to him yet. I don't know if he, got body slammed on some thumbtacks or.
That's the one Dad doesn't go to.
Oh wait, that's the hardcore. I think that'd be hardcore. I think Extreme. Yeah, Extreme. I think just means Paul's Count Anywhere or something.
Oh yeah,
so,
okay.
Sure. I don't know, man.
In the parking lot.
Yeah,
I mean the mall at the Orange Julius.
When you're where he's at, the belt's basically a prop. It's a prop for the show.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
Oh, here comes the champ. Is the champ a good guy or a bad guy? It's fun. Cool. It's fun to go. Like I've gone out of town to watch him a few times now, and when he's out of town, sometimes he's a heel, and so I've gone and watched him be, the bad guy, and I have to just, watch everybody yell at him and say horrible shit to him.
That means he's doing his job well then.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it makes me proud. I know he did his job, but like I was in Marshalltown watching him, and there was a guy that was coming over the rail. Like he was going to come over the rail And this wasn't my son wasn't in this match that this happened, but
yeah.
And I'm sitting here watching, and I'm like, okay, is this guy just playing along? You know, because
right.
Like me and my friends, when we're all liquored up and watching him, we'll do that. We'll talk shit to the bad guy, you know,
right.
or whatever, and
sure,
yeah, blah, blah, you know, all the fucking wrestling shit. And anyway, so this guy keeps, and he's and I'm watching him. And I'm just laughing. My girlfriend's sitting there. We're laughing. My dad's laughing. We're just. Well, then I can see the lady that he's with. This lady, and this lady looks like, and I should, you know, I feel like I'm gonna get shamed for saying this, but she was massive and looked like she didn't do a lot of moving.
Right.
Really, ever.
Yeah.
She always made it outside for a smoke. I saw her out there smoking a couple of cigarettes, and that was just baffling to me. That smoking a cigarette for her, she was so big, like smoking a cigarette for her had to take effort. Like,
sure,
just everything had to be effort. But anyway, I see her grabbing at him, and she's trying to like get him to quit. And at first, you know, I'm thinking he's too, you know, she doesn't want him acting like an idiot, you know, or whatever.
Right.
But eventually I could see on her face that he was dead. This guy was dead fucking serious. Finally, somebody else that was with him got him outside. They took him outside, and he was outside pacing back and forth, all pissed off. Oh my
Crazy.
God. I was like, he thinks this is real. This guy thinks
That's
there's
crazy.
people out there that are around my age that think this is like
real.
And it's not that it, you know, it's theater. It's not that it's not. I want to make it clear that, you know, it's not. What they do to each other is not real.
Right.
Like what they do to each other. I'm not going to go as far as to say that they really are, but they really are inflicting pain on each other. They really are hurting each other. They are doing tremendous feats of athleticism throughout the night, and they are beating the hell out of each other, honestly. But
right.
The idea is that they're doing this together as a team and, you know, trying to protect each other and whatever.
Sure.
Like if somebody comes in, you know, you've seen videos of a WWE or whatever, like some dude runs out of the crowd and gets in the ring. All of a sudden, both wrestlers are beating the piss out of that guy.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Yeah. It's not, I would not recommend it. We got our first question already, and it has nothing to do with mental health. It's clear to make fun of me. Drew Shipley wants to know how old is too old to use a Snapchat filter. That may or may not be in reference to the photo that I posted right before this promoting the podcast, because he claims that I put a chat, and I would just like to point out I look that good all the time. So I'm not sure what you mean here.
Yeah, you're a little rosy looking there.
Yeah, I am.
Did you use a?
It's a Snapchat filter. It is. Oh. That's okay.
How old's too old to have Snapchat? I don't even have Snapchat.
I have it for one reason. I'm on a snap streak with Caitlin.
Oh, that's a great reason. Your snap streak.
It is.
That you wouldn't have had you not ever had Snapchat. Right. I have it for one reason, because I have this. So how did you have the streak before you downloaded Snapchat is my question.
I don't know. I was bored.
Why did you download Snapchat?
I think, honestly, the first time I downloaded it was because my kid was using it and I wanted to know what it was. You're
keeping up with the virtual Joneses.
Yes, exactly. That's why I have a Threads account now. It's important to have a Threads account.
What the fuck? See, I haven't even looked at it. I heard a little bit of people talking about it a little bit.
Sean Clinton, it's still real to me. Damn it.
So that's from a thing.
Yes. It's like a famous little video of some guy.
You've seen it. Okay.
Yeah, it's some like Comic-Con or something where he's talking about how important wrestling
Terry
is.
Funk and some other people were having like a Q&A.
Yep.
Yeah, and that it was on Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon found it.
Oh, it's funny. All right, so
I want to thank each and every one of y'all for everything that you done to your bodies.
It's still real to me, damn it.
It's still real to me, damn it. You can hear Terry Funk go, all right, calm down, buddy.
Right?
All right, buddy. So calm down, buddy.
Oh. Okay, so a few months ago when we started this podcast, you gave me some homework. And as usual, just like when I was at Iowa State, I put it off until I absolutely had to do it. The homework was that you gave me that you thought maybe I should start looking up and thinking about going to see a therapist to talk to somebody. Mm-hmm. And we talk all the time on here about how important it is and the stigmas of why we don't do it. And I went ahead and did some looking and found a therapist that I'm going to try. My first appointment is July 21st.
Right on. Now, there's number one that is annoying about therapy, because so many people don't start therapy unless they're in some kind of crisis. So, and I don't know. I'm trusting that you're not in a big crisis right now.
Nope.
But you've just decided that you need to do it, which is great.
Right. And somebody had mentioned that today online too, and said that it was important not to wait until you were in a crisis and to do it before.
Yeah.
Yep.
But most people, they don't even reach out until it's like 0 hour,
Right.
Well, that's kind of what's annoying about it is you call and you can't get an appointment for a month or something.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that scares a lot of people away. Or it's a good excuse not to go. Maybe someone talked them into, okay, I'm going to call, and they call and they're like, well, we can't get you in for a month, which they call. What happens is they call one doctor, they call one person that someone gave them the name of or something. And when they couldn't get them in for a month, they just gave up. So
let's talk about that a little bit, because
that brings up a good point, is to keep calling and finding, find yourself somebody's going to have an opening, but anyway, go ahead.
No, that's a good place to start, because I went for a physical at my normal doctor last Monday. And and I had been talking to Stacy about just wanting to go and talk to somebody, not because I was sad, I wasn't depressed, I'm not unhappy, but I also do feel sometimes like I'm short with the kids. I'm quick to get angry about something because something else is lingering. And I just don't want those things to affect who I am on an everyday basis when it comes to my wife and my kids. So I told her, I said, I had this appointment coming up with my normal doctor, and I'm going to ask her if she can refer me to a therapist. So she, at the end of it, handed me this piece of paper. And this is what I got. It was just this list of like phone numbers. And I was so like overwhelmed by it, right? I'm like, I don't know who to call. And I don't, now granted, I'm 52 years old. I feel like I'm a pretty good speaker. I'm not normally nervous on the phone. And I'm sitting here going, I don't know where to even begin with this list. That was the first hurdle that I had.
The top.
Yeah. But I mean, there were things on here though, like, advanced therapy
categories,
solutions. Central Iowa Psychological Services. I don't know that I need that or not. I don't know. So
you weren't sure what level to go to. Like, did you want a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or just maybe a counselor, kind of a social worker type?
Right.
Like my therapist isn't either one. My therapist is just like a social worker, like counselor. I mean, she's obviously studied in, psychology, therapy, she's a certified therapist.
Right.
But she's not, it's basically a social worker.
So I ended up looking at the place that the boys go to, and a few other family members have gone to this organization, and went to their website and was able to find a gentleman that specializes in parental therapy and family and men's issues. So I thought he's as good as option as any at this point. This is where I'm going to jump off and start. Mm-hmm. And signed up and filled out the paperwork. So July 21st is my first appointment. But
so how did you settle on that name? Did you kind of bring it up around some family and they said, well, obviously if the boys go,
yeah, and I did not, and my wife was like, well, why don't you go to so-and-so it? And I was like, honestly, I don't want to go to the same therapist.
Right.
Because I don't want the boys' therapy to get blended in. Not that the therapist wouldn't be
objective.
That's not what I mean. But I want them to be able to focus specifically on the boys. And
that could be advantageous, though.
Well, yeah. It could be. There could be times where maybe I'm in there with the boys or whatever.
But it does give the therapist the ability, if they want to manipulate.
Right. And we're human, right? Mm-hmm. We're all human. The boys may have had discussions about me or whatever, and maybe there's already a preconceived notion that he has about me. Right. You know what I mean? Or another family member, or Caitlin, because Caitlin was going to a doctor there as well, and things like that. So I just kind of wanted to be able to start fresh. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the biggest thing for me is I just feel like sometimes I'm a lot like my dad is. I'm a lot like my dad was. My dad would get angry quick. Mm-hmm. He would not like physically angry. He would just like snap and have a temper and get irritated easily and things like that. And I feel like the older I'm getting, the less tolerance I have or the less patience I have. And I don't want that to affect the relationship that I have with the people I still live with.
Right.
So
no, that's great. I mean, that's a place that, it's too bad it takes us this long to get to.
Yeah.
Because you can probably look back and see a lot of different relationships that affected adversely in your life. And I think that's a reason a lot of people don't go to, is because they don't. It's like, well, I already fucked up. I don't want to do it and just be pissed off I didn't do it sooner. Things like that. Right. That's really stopped me. That stopped me from working out a lot of times, Like,
it stops me from working out all the time.
It's like, I'm afraid to what if I get in the best shape of my life? And I'm like, man, if I'd have done this when I was 18, right? I could have been a contender.
Right.
Some stupid shit. And I think that I don't think I'm alone in that thought process. So I think that's something we all got to conquer too.
Well, and I've always prided myself on trying to be brutally honest on these podcasts and whatever. And I'm being honest in the fact that right now, I don't have the best relationship with my oldest, Tyler. And it's not because of who he is or because of that he's, I want to clear up any misconceptions. It's not because he's transgender or because he's married or he lives in Minnesota or whatever. Him and I have always battled on how I think he should just do basic adult responsibilities. Mm-hmm. And him and I have argued about that. And he says that that sometimes I wasn't very understanding, and I was hard and rigid and things like that. And there have been times where things have come up with the other kids, and I've been told that that's how it is. And you know what? just like when I was married before and after I got divorced, it wasn't 100% her fault. Somewhere in there was my responsibilities as well. And if I didn't ever learn to fix those or take a look at those, then I wasn't ever going to be better overall. And it's kind of the same thing now. Maybe I am rigid and things like that, and I just don't know it and I don't see it. So maybe if I go talk to somebody and explain to them why I feel like I want to handle certain things this way or that way, they'll help me see it a different way. Or maybe they'll validate and say, you know what? I think you're right. But either way, I at least want to get a handle on it.
Well, how old is he?
He is 27. He'll be 28 in 2 months.
He's married and lives on his own.
Lives in Minneapolis. Yep.
Well, I mean, is he asking you for money?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's when it's hard not to be rigid. That's the one thing where you're like, because you're going through that, and in my head, I'm thinking, okay, what's the one thing that you're not going to let go of? Because it seems to me like with my son, he hasn't asked me for a dime.
Right.
I can't think of really ever since he's gotten out of high school. I don't know how much money his mom's given him for this, that, or the other thing, but
right.
I mean, outside of like his birthday and Christmas and whatever else, like he's
right.
Hasn't asked me for anything. So like any other thing that we've talked about,
yep.
Like it's like I'm not really dad now. I mean, I am, but
right.
He's an adult, so it's like, outside of if he's asking me for money because he's not working, not doing the things to pay his rent, whatever, right. Then eventually you're going to say, you're going to have to be like, dude, it's a fine line between enabling and helping.
Right. I've always
figure
told
out what's
him,
a habit and what's not,
And I've always told him, if you're working and trying and doing everything you can and you're just coming up short, listen, we've all been there. So that's when I'll help you. But you have to be able to meet certain expectations that every adult should be meeting, and you're not meeting those. So,
yeah,
at this point that, I love you and I support you and things like that, but I can't financially help you. And that's not necessarily the main crux of why I'm going as far as what's rigid. I just think that, like, I'll give you a great example. One of the kids may come and say, I want to do this, or can I do this, or that, this and that. And immediately I may go, no, you're not going to do that. I'm so sometimes rigid in that, okay, I've said no, so now I need to stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
That later on I might think to myself, well, that was really dumb. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, what's the big deal?
Mm-hmm.
But I just was always brought up that, okay, I've said no now, and now they're continuing to harp on it. Now I feel like if I change my mind now, that's going to send them a message that, hey,
if they keep harping on it, it's going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I need to do is get to the point of me going, sometimes the battles aren't worth it. Sometimes I don't have to fight every single battle. I don't have to win every single battle, and learn to maybe not say yes or no so quickly, and be able to think those things through ahead of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Don't give an answer right away.
Right.
Or
those are examples
or maybe another strategy would be, if your knee-jerk answer is no, you basically say, like, look, The answer is no. This is why. Whatever. Most people just
right.
Most human beings just want to know why. They want to understand why.
Right.
And a lot of times, because our parents did it, it's because I said so. It's the worst fucking answer, kids, you can ever give a kid.
So my dad would say that all the time. Yep.
But once you become a parent, you actually understand why they said that shit. Because it's like, motherfucker, you're 12. I don't gotta explain shit to you. I gotta explain myself to this asshole that I work for every day for 40 hours a week. Right. Bust my ass to put a roof over your head and feed you. So I'm not explaining shit to you. Why don't you explain to me why I gotta feed you every day? Like,
right? Yeah.
You know, I mean,
man, it's like Melvin's on the podcast. All of a sudden, there's no doubt about that.
That's where your brain goes.
Yeah.
And so, like, but maybe but I agree with you in that, you know, you do have to stick to things, and you do have to send the message that harping on it isn't going to get them anywhere. But then maybe what you do is you look for an opportunity where they don't harp on something, where the answer is no, they don't harp on it. And a little while later, you change your mind and you get to say, look, because you didn't harp on this, I got to think about it for a while.
Right.
You know, because when you harp on it.
And there have been times that that's happened.
And you explain, like, when you harp on it, my brain doesn't give me a chance to rethink it. When you harp on it, it just makes me want to go, fuck you. So, like.
And I think sometimes I just yep. I'm so hell-bent on just wanting to be right.
Mm-hmm.
That I lose sight of the whole overall picture sometimes.
Well, and being right sucks because, I mean, the need to be right sucks about anything. Because, like, I know for a fact I have had my mind changed when I've received new information. I know I've been reasonable in quote unquote arguments, conversations, whatever. And I've changed my tune about things at different times.
Right.
But when somebody says to me, you know, you don't have to be right all the time. You're not always right. And it's like, are we arguing right now? Why are we arguing? Because you think you're right and I think I'm right.
Right.
Why aren't you the one that always has to be right? Why are we fucking arguing right now? Both of us evidently have to be right. Why am I the dickhead that's unreasonable? And I, you know, because I've had that conversation with myself many times where I'm like, okay, what's more important here? Like being right or the peace?
Right. Yeah.
Whether that comes with a business relationship or an actual, you know, family type relationship, whatever that is. But, you know, but it's hard because when you're a father, it's like, this is a dictatorship. This isn't a fucking democracy.
It certainly was. And that's the other thing I struggle with sometimes is I will have conversations and you know, it's funny that we're talking a lot about my dad because 12 years ago today, my dad passed away.
Yeah.
And so it's funny that we're talking about that, but my dad was 100% like what you said. He, you know, he didn't have to explain himself. It was his house. Those were his rules. If you didn't like it, that was too bad. He pays the bills. Shit, when I worked with him and he was my boss, I can't tell you how many times I heard, well, I own this place, so that's how we're doing it, even though I knew it wasn't the right way to do it. So it's just a matter of, I just need to, I'm 52 years old. I should be a lot more mellow than I am. And I am way more than I used to be. I mean, when I was married to my first wife, I was probably angry all the time. And I'm not saying that was her fault. It was just, that was just where I was in my life. And I'm not like that anymore, but I still sometimes feel like I snap or I'm less patient when I need to be. And I just don't want to be that way.
How many kids are in the house still?
Well, the boys are still in the house. They're 20. They just finished but because of their special needs and things like that, they don't really have a place yet that we've been able to place them. They're going to a job training thing this summer to help them get placed in a job, and then once they find a job, then we'll know where they're at and be able to find them, housing and things like that where they're closer to what job they have. So, and that might be a little bit of it too. When they were going to school, it was just me and Stacy. So, we had our own time and our own space, and now 2 kids have come back in, and it was no different than when Caitlin moved back in during college. It's that whole dynamic of they were out on their own. They were
now all of a sudden there's rules again,
and now there's all of a sudden there's rules again, and there's a little bit of conflict, and that's nothing about the boys. Caitlin was the same way. Caitlin and I would get irritated at Caitlin all the time. There'd be times it's a Thursday night and it's 9:30 and she's walking out the door to go party, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And she's like, well, I'm going to my friend's house. We're going to go to the bar. Well, it's 9:30 at night. Instantly the old man in me kicks in. There's nothing good to happen at 9:30 at night. You got to be at work the next day. I wanted to lecture and give her all these lectures, and she'd turn around and go, if I was at school, you wouldn't have a fucking idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're not at school. You're at home. So, same deal.
Yeah. I mean, if she was 21 and could go to the bar, too bad. I mean, yeah, you probably should have let that go.
Yeah, and I did. I mean, it's not like I forced her to stay home.
Yeah,
but she got the lecture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I'm just telling you.
That's right.
I'm just nothing. You're an adult. You're an adult. You're gonna do whatever
I'm
you
telling
want.
you, I am 100% Melvin, because here's how I act. I tell her something's gonna happen, and I'm telling you, if it happens, I'm more pissed off that I was right.
Of course.
And
that's
and
life
that
in
she
general.
didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I used to have a saying. I got a friend of mine, that we used to always say, if I can predict it, it will annoy me.
Yes.
I'm that way
right.
with Hawkeye football and basketball.
Yeah.
If I can predict the bonehead thing that's about to happen or whatever,
right.
and then it happens, I lose my mind.
Right.
I do it more often with refs.
Yes. Travis,
I'll
my
look
nephew,
and I'll
is
see
right.
I'll see that we've had we've got 10 more free throws than the other team or something, and we got a 20-point lead, and there's 3 minutes left before halftime, and I'm like, oh yep, they're gonna have to make sure that they call some fouls, on us, get this lead down, and then it happens, and of course I'm ready to fucking murder a referee.
Well, I mean,
but yeah, that's.
I've seen some Big 12 refs before, so.
What's the saying? Familiarity breeds contempt.
Yes.
I mean, I think that's kind of what it is. When you recognize patterns, and those patterns are annoying.
Yep.
Nobody seems to get pissed off about patterns that yield positive results.
No kidding. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to get an ad from Revelton, then we're going to come back, and I want to talk a little bit about the benefits of therapy for men and how maybe it can help become better fathers and husbands. So let's get a word from Revelton.
At Revelton Distilling Company, everyone has become a part of the Revelton family. From the Taylors and their daughter who helped perfect their award-winning gins, to the team who installed Lucy, our 33-foot-tall custom-made still, right down to the local farms that provide our coveted corn, and even the cows on those farms who consume our mash byproduct. Want to see the farm to flask come to life? Now you can tour Lucy and find out where we take Iowa's harvest and transform it into our finest spirits. Choose between a 45-minute tour or find out even more by scheduling a VIP behind-the-scenes tour to get the taste of the full Revelton experience. You can visit them at 1400 West Clay Street in Osceola, Iowa, or Find all of Revelton's award-winning spirits at any local grocery or spirits retailer.
All right, and we're back. Bill, I don't know if you noticed behind me this little I will sign that is behind me. That is a special gift that was given to me. So Amy from Hot Mess Happy Hour takes care of little AJ here. He does artwork that's hand painted by AJ Gale. I just want to read this for all of our listeners. AJ is 7 years old and lives in Keystone, Iowa. He loves telling jokes with his AAC device, dancing to music with a good beat, and messy play like the painting that he did behind me. AJ has Down syndrome and has a list of medical diagnoses, including only having half a heart. He's had multiple procedures in Iowa and Pennsylvania, including airway repair and open heart surgeries. But most importantly, AJ has exceeded all the expectations set before him and lives each day with a zest for life. So all proceeds from his artwork go to AJ's medical expenses, and you can learn more about AJ at aaronandambersfamily.com or donate to their Venmo, which I'll publish here later on. But AJ, that's the second Iowa State little artwork that he's done, and Amy assured me that he did it while listening to Back in Black because they are all a bunch of Hawkeye fans. So AJ and Amy and everybody, thank you. AJ's kind of a trooper. He's about my only favorite Hawkeye that I know of. So
that's good. He should make you a new one that says "I won't."
Don't be dissing.
You hear that, AJ? Send him an "I won't." Make it upside down. Those stupid little picket fence looking things. Turn them over.
Stop it.
Turn them over like the horns. Like
stop it.
They do the horns down. Do that stupid picket fence thing upside down and put "I won't."
You're being so mean right now. Nice way to ruin a moment.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful artwork.
It is.
You know, and I love that. I love the troll job of listening to Back in Black. Well,
yes,
you know, and you know what's funny is that is almost kind of a troll job that happens on me. Is I think two of the bands that I really kind of I don't despise them for the fact that I think their music sucks, which I think sucks is a strong word, but
yeah,
I think they're very overrated. Is AC/DC and Metallica, and they play both bands when Iowa runs out of the tunnel.
Well, there for a while,
and I really don't like either band, really at all.
Iowa State was playing Kanye West, so I don't know which was worse. So.
Well, and see, I get super annoyed. I know that there's especially like when it comes to like the bands and all that different stuff, like it's super copycat. Like you get so engulfed and in tune with your own team, school, whatever, and you don't realize how many people everywhere are doing the same exact thing. Like Iowa's band, I haven't heard them do it in a while, and I'm super glad. Is like they would play Sweet Caroline every once in a while, and that would make me livid.
What?
Yeah. Like I would get livid. I would be like, don't ever do anything that Iowa State does ever under any circumstances.
Just got to copy everything from us.
Yeah.
Little brother.
Next thing you know, we're going to want to have red uniforms. We're going to have some special Hawkeye Reds.
There you go. You can copy him from the Kansas City Chiefs, just like you guys did the Steelers.
Yeah. Well, no. We'll copy USC is who we'll copy.
There you go. We didn't copy USC. That's not what happened.
Or we'll copy the Washington football team.
There you go. That's better.
I don't know. I think we should dress in cardinal and gold with that dumb picket fence thing upside down. Special helmet.
Stop calling it the dumb picket fence. In honor of Jack
No, don't give me that shit. Don't even. They ain't got shit to do with Jack Trice. It just so happens to be the jersey the whole team wore at the time that Jack Trice played.
Right.
And that's like us saying that the leather helmet represents Niall Kinnick. Give me that.
Well,
shit.
if you guys did an
Your
honorable
dumb fucking picket fence thing, every team had that dumb thing on their chest. There's different colors.
Stop it.
They had like when you watch the what's it called? The when they did the throwback, like the Bears wore that dumb picket fence thing.
Yeah, that was a terrible.
Like the whole league for like 2 games did that shit.
That was a terrible look by the Bears.
Yeah, it was a terrible look by Iowa State. No wonder they use it.
Okay.
There's the end of terrible things. The whole goddamn university.
On the next episode,
nothing but terrible things.
On the next episode of Side the Storm, special guest Bill Blank.
Oh, so I could just get teamed up on.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Back on topic now that you've completely trashed the legacy of Jack Rice.
You started it.
Therapy can be a valuable tool.
Completely trashed the legacy.
Oh, you're so mean. Okay. I don't even know how to transition into this. It's
back to our mental health.
Back to our mental health. That's right. Yeah. So I did a little. I did a little Ask GPT. We're gonna see how accurate this is and what you think.
Oh, hey, wait! Real quick though.
Yeah.
You mentioned before. The same therapist thing.
Yep.
How hilarious would it be? Like, I assume you have an hour when you go see the guy.
I assume so.
So, how hilarious would it be at like the 45-minute mark? He just goes, "Gee, you are nothing like the way they make you sound."
I know, right? You're a lot nicer.
It's like, man, I thought,
man, I almost turned you into the authorities.
I thought the giant from Jack and the Beanstalk was walking in here.
That's right.
So anyway, sorry.
It's all right. Denny wants to see you get body slammed by big play Brent Curvey inside the storm.
Who's that?
Shut up.
I'm serious.
You don't know who Brent Curvey is?
We've talked about this off the air. We haven't talked about this on the air.
True. That's
this
true.
Is the thing.
All right.
This is one of my things with when it comes to the fan bases, right?
Yes.
If we're going to talk in generalizations, I know there's exceptions to everything. I'm my own exception, whatever, right? But I'm telling you, Iowa State fans know way more about Iowa than Iowa fans know about Iowa State. Like, I feel like kind of in general, like you guys know more players. Like, I know nobody. I don't know anything about. I pay zero attention to Iowa State other than when we play them, and then like let people stick around less and less now. So like that changes things too. But like, you know, over the course of a few years, a lot of times you remember certain players like Niang or whatever. You saw him every year for 4 years or whatever, you know. But that's happening less and less now. So, but like I'm telling you, like I don't after they play in basketball, after they play each other, I do not pay a lick of attention to another thing Iowa State related whatsoever. I have no idea who's what. I really don't.
Okay, that's fair. Now, the reason that I was flabbergasted is Brent. It was a fairly big player in the mid 2000s at Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
Played a little bit in the NFL. He owns a local restaurant here in town in Des Moines, and he is a co-host on one of our sister podcasts. That's why I thought maybe you might have just heard who he was. And
what restaurant does he own?
Coach's Kolaches. It's a breakfast.
Oh, I've eaten a bunch of those. Those are delicious. Yeah. He's from
Houston.
He's from Houston, yeah, because that's where that's where the kolaches are kind of big, is down there.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, those are delicious. He does a great job.
Yes, he does.
In fact, somebody else is trying. I did the Cajun Bell. They're doing them too.
Yeah,
they're not as good. I Pepsi challenged them.
Well, if you want the
my
best
man,
one,
Big Play, yeah, yours are better, dude.
go on Saturdays. Go on Saturdays and get the Astro, which is chopped brisket and jalapeno sausage and cheese, all in one.
Yeah, I tried that one. I prefer just the jalapeno sausage by itself.
Yeah, it's good too.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's my favorite. That's what I always get.
That is correct, Travis. That Iowa fans and Iowa State fans are exactly the same, because Iowa State fans actually went to Iowa State and Iowa fans did not.
Yeah, which is really what he's trying to say, is that we didn't go to college at all, that we're like uneducated trailer park people. That's what they're really meaning when they say that. Because if they were smart enough, these educated people that all went to Iowa State, these college graduates, these Rhodes scholars, obviously, if they were smart, they would know that if that were actually the case, it would be a huge insult to themselves. If you've ever heard the term "a face only a mother could love," you're basically saying the only way you can be an Iowa State fan is if you went to school there, because that's how bad they suck. There's no other way you would latch on. You have to have a personal relationship with one or more people in one or more programs at the school in order to be a fan, because that's how much they suck. So it makes sense. I mean, nobody our age grew up being Iowa State fans. They had to go there to become one.
That might be true.
They weren't on TV hardly ever.
No, they were not.
Unless they played us.
That's correct.
They never sold their stadium out ever unless they played us.
That might be, well, except for the alternating years that they played Nebraska.
Yeah, those games, yep.
I mean, I just want to make sure we're accurate.
No, you're right. You're right. Back in the Big 8 days.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, so I think for us, like Hawkeye fans that are my age and older, it's really hard for us to give a shit about Iowa State at all. I think fans that are younger than us,
right?
Like maybe the 2030s, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think they may have a little more knowledge of the Iowa State players, and all that different kind of stuff. But
I think so too.
I mean, I just don't. And then, because I think your guys' hatred for us is just stronger than our hatred for you. We're more indifferent.
Yeah,
we just hate you as fans because we hate listening to your shit. Like,
and we hate you guys as fans because you guys think you win the national championship every year, and you're mediocre. But
which I don't know anybody that acts like that. I don't know a single Iowa fan that acts like we're ever going to win the national championship, like in our life, much less this year. I really don't. I don't know anybody. I don't know who I think you talked to. You know who I think you talked to?
We are completely off the rails.
I think you talk to people like, I think you talk to Hawkeye fans like at work that don't even really watch the games and shit. They're just a Hawkeye fan that they wear the shirt that week because you're supposed to wear one or the other. And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we're the best. We're number one." Like, I think most people kind of know exactly what to expect and where we're at. But I agree. I agree there are people that talk like we're better than we are. Like me,
and I think a lot of that is on social media.
Yeah, it's the squeaky wheel getting the grease type shit.
Yes. I agree.
Because I personally, I'm excited every single year just because it's football season and it's my favorite thing. Going to Iowa games, watching Iowa games is my favorite thing. No matter what. So that's why I get excited. But I'm not excited about the prospects of the upcoming season. Like we got a chance to get over the hump. I never think that. I never think, like 2015 when we went undefeated, to me, all I did all season was wait for us to lose. I couldn't even
just
enjoy
waiting for
it.
the other shoe to. You just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
I couldn't even enjoy it. It's fucking pathetic.
I can understand that.
But it was. I mean, it was fun at the end of the day. So your chat.
yeah. We'll quickly go through this list because I feel like we've completely. I can't imagine what's gonna happen during football season. I just can't imagine. I really want to do a live episode during a Cowboys fan game, and then just get people to comment to help with your mental health. That's what I want.
Well, they're definitely gonna think there's something wrong with me if they watch me. If I were observed watching either team, I'd rather be observed watching the Cowboys because I don't think I care as much about like some of the shit that'll come out of my mouth during a Cowboy game. But during an Iowa game, like I might say something insulting about a player that I don't want people to hear because I don't really mean it. I don't really want to I don't want that to go public that I said somebody, because I love them too much. It's like fucking yelling at my kids.
Travis has dumped you already.
5 minutes ago,
he was all ready for you to be his uncle, and then you said Cowboys, and he was out.
Well, I mean,
Travis doesn't know how to understand sportsdom. I mean, he just picked one color set and went with both.
Here's my
the Hawks
thing.
and the Steelers fans.
Well, it makes it easy.
That's right. He lives in Maquoketa. They got to keep it simple over there.
Here's my thing though, is I don't. If there was like a sell your soul to the devil type situation, like not really selling my soul, but like, you got to give one up for the other, some kind of genie in a bottle deal where like somebody told me that I have to, the Cowboys will lose every single game for the rest of my life if Iowa wins one national championship in football. I'm signing up for that all day long. And I can't change my favorite NFL team. I still have to be a Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm taking it all day.
What was the scenario again? Cowboys could never win.
The Cowboys lose every game for the rest of my life. Iowa wins one national championship.
Oh, I would take that.
I'm taking that hands down.
I would take that. Iowa State wins a national championship and the Bears never win a game. Shit, the Bears may never win a game anyways.
Yeah.
What am I giving up?
Yeah.
I'm not giving up shit there.
Right.
So I'd sign up for that in a heartbeat.
Or to make it even, like, the thing is, I would rather they lost every game forever than it just be like they'll never win another Super Bowl. Because then then you can't even have any fun all season because you're like, doesn't matter, they're gonna win the Super Bowl anyway.
That's right.
At least like if they're losing every single game, you can have fun with that.
And you couldn't switch your fandom, huh? You don't have a second team that you could at least want to watch.
Well, I mean, I watch all the games anyway, especially now that you can bet. But I would take that. If I don't believe in second favorite teams. I think second favorite teams are for assholes.
Are you telling me I'm not allowed to at least like have another team that I would like to watch? Is like if the Bears aren't playing.
Oh, you mean like because you want the 49ers to win because Brock Purdy's going to play for the 49ers? Whatever.
It's the Jets. They have more Cyclones on.
Yeah, you see, now you're getting a little taste. You're getting just a little taste of what it's like to be a Hawkeye fan, because all of a sudden your NFL team is getting less and less and less important as more and more of your
players
guys get into the NFL.
Yes.
Because I have way more of an interest in how well the Hawkeyes do than I do the Cowboys winning. I mean, I want the Cowboys. I watch the games. I'm into the games. I yell, I cuss, I fucking, but it doesn't hurt like Iowa games hurt. Iowa games hurt.
Yes. College games hurt. Yes.
Yeah.
I think partially because you know those guys that are playing there are only going to get 1 or 2 years to be able to play there. You know what I mean?
It's a short window.
It's a shorter window for those guys, and you start to follow, for them and care about them and things like that.
And then they're gone, and then they leave you. Everybody I love leaves me. Speaking of mental health.
See, why do I have a feeling this next comment by Travis will?
I'm just unloved.
This next comment's going to piss you off.
Oh yeah.
I will root for ISU every game except for when they play the Hawks. I'm more of a whole Iowa fan, but I'm trash talking every Cy-Hawk matchup. I know for sure you hate that.
Yeah, I do hate that. But I'm okay.
We talked about this on Old
But
Man's
I am okay with that. Like,
no, then you've softened because we talked about this on Old Man Strength.
I
when
hate
you and Meg were on.
Yeah.
Because you were like, I want them to lose every fucking game because it's better for Iowa in recruiting.
Yes, I do. Right.
Okay.
But I don't hate the guy that goes ahead and roots for him when they're not playing Iowa.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean?
All right.
Like, I hate Iowa State that much that I want them to lose every single game. And we like I said on the Old Man, we compete for the same recruits.
Yes.
Like, if you think Xavier Wampa didn't get an offer from Iowa State, you're an idiot.
You know
what I mean?
100%
like,
sure. Yeah.
We want the number one players out of our state, and
right.
A lot of the regional guys were competing. You know, so of course, to me, it's better for us if they suck than if they're good. People will always be like, if we beat them or whatever, it's better for our strength of schedule that they're good. Win or lose, better for our strength of schedule. Well, I'm telling you right now, if we win all of our games, we're going to the playoffs. It doesn't matter how good or bad Iowa State is.
Right.
If we win every single one of our games and win the Big Ten championship game, we're going to the playoffs. Period. So, to me, it's better if Iowa State just sucks and we get all the best players. That's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah, I've kind of moved into that too. I used to be, I go back and forth because I have a lot of friends that are Iowa fans. So, like, I want to see them happy and whatever, but I certainly will take pleasure in every loss that they have.
Yeah, but that's the thing. And that nobody gives a fuck if you're happy about your football team winning. I mean, come on.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I got friends. No, we don't got to take the hatred to a level like people have with politics where fucking.
No, that's not what I mean. No,
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
there honestly, are people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's bigger than that.
Right.
Like, I don't give a fuck if Iowa State does something that makes my friend happy. I don't give a shit. I want my friend's life to be happy. I don't want them to be in debt, and I want their wives to stay with them. I don't but I don't give a fuck if they're an Iowa State fan. I don't give a fuck if they're happy about anything Iowa State does. Okay. I'm just saying. I mean, good for you, but like,
I'm a better person than you are. I got it.
I see. Yeah, I think you're a better liar than me. I think you're full of shit. I don't think that I think that really, like if Iowa won, if Iowa went to the national championship game in basketball, men's basketball, Iowa State got beat out in the second round, you would want Iowa to lose that fucking game.
Yes.
No matter what your friends, how happy any of your friends would be.
Yes, I would.
You're exactly.
Right. I would.
So you're full of shit.
Except for the women, when Caitlin Clark was in, I did want to root.
That's because it's women. It's women.
But
and that is sexist and as shitty as that fucking sounds.
I know.
It's exactly what it was.
But yes, I would root for them to lose. I also won't lie and say that every single time Iowa loses, I don't immediately go listen to Ross and Travis on Sound Off to watch.
You want to hear
the absolute meltdown for 3 hours. I love it. Yes.
And
agreed, 100%.
When Iowa State loses, I just like the silence. Like, I don't give a fuck who's melting down about what or what's going on or what's rotten in Denmark or what the locker room chatter is. Whose girlfriend. Like, I don't give a shit. I just enjoy my Facebook feed having nothing on it from cycling.
Well, I'll change that this fall. I'll be sure to post to your
when page. And when they lose, what I really love when they lose is when they bitch about the refs. That's my favorite. Because they get on my ass. Yeah, because they get on my ass constantly about bitching at the refs. So every time somebody bitches about the refs, it makes me really happy. I'd be like, see, motherfucker?
Some guy on Twitter today posted the top 10 ref screw jobs in Iowa State history with video, and it was an absolute atrocious remembrance of that. All right, Bill, I saw that you are performing this weekend. Why don't you give everybody details on what you're doing this weekend?
I will be at the Des Moines Funny Bone opening for Donnie Baker. Swear to God.
Friday and Saturday.
You know who Donnie Baker is?
I don't know.
He got famous doing like those Little League coach videos or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Not the guy that goes to the mound and tells them they suck.
Okay.
And stuff. He's the guy. He wears the Zubaz pants and backwards hat.
I'll have to look it up.
Anyway, yeah. So yeah, Donnie Baker, one show Friday, one show Saturday, 7:30 Friday, 7 Saturday. So yeah, go to Funny Bone. I think it's DesMoinesFunnyBone.com now. Used to be FunnyBoneDM.com, but I think it's DesMoinesFunnyBone.com now. Anyway, go out there, get your tickets. We never did get to that thing though that you wanted to talk about.
That's right. This was much better. That was going to be a time filler. This was a lot more entertaining.
Should we hit it real quick though before we go?
Yeah, let's hit it real quick. All right. Therapy.
It is what we're here for.
That's right. 6 options here of how therapy can be a valuable tool in helping men become better fathers. Self-reflection and awareness. So by understanding their emotions, triggers, and patterns, men can develop healthier coping mechanisms and communication skills.
Yeah, I mean
I think that's the number one reason why I'm going is awareness. For me to be aware of sometimes my behaviors.
I don't feel like that's I don't think that is necessarily just a male thing. Like this is one of those things I think is maybe a little bit unfair. Yet it's true, and it's something we got to keep in mind, I think, is in most cases, as men, when we're angry, we're much scarier, whether anyone's in danger or not.
Right.
We are a lot more likely to appear as if that's the case. We're a lot more likely to we just look scarier. We're generally louder. We're bigger. We might bulk up. It's a primate thing. So yes, we do need to, have healthier communication methods, coping mechanisms, yada, yada, yada. But I also think that it's okay for us to get angry. I feel like we've kind of gotten to this place where there's kind of maybe a double standard, a reverse double standard, where we've kind of gotten the pendulum's kind of swung. I guess we both have our things, like, the sexist thing, when women are angry or upset, people will label them too emotional, or, they have all these labels that they tend to give women.
Right.
And men, we have ours. We have our unfair labels as well. And I think that is one of them, is like, you know, just because we're bigger and louder doesn't make us more dangerous than you.
Right.
Like, that's just the nature of it. It's the way it is, and we should be able to express our anger just like you can. The difference is when you yell and scream and seem hysterical or whatever, no one thinks they're physically in danger.
Right.
I'm not worried about, you know, in most cases, my significant other is much smaller than me.
Yeah.
So she can be throwing shit, screaming, yelling. I'm not worried about my physical well-being, you know, unless she grabs a gun or some shit.
Right.
Like, you know, that type of thing. Whereas if a man is behaving in that same way, somebody's calling the cops.
Yeah.
And there's a domestic thing going on.
Right.
In fact, it's even basically okay society-wise for her to be hitting me. She'd be pissed off at me and be hitting me. And by the way, I agree with this double standard. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Because it's not a fair fight.
Right.
I think it's okay to stop her from hitting you, restrain her or something.
Right.
But under no circumstances do you hit her.
No.
Or
you just get out of there.
Yeah. Again, unless, you know, there's a weapon, a life-threatening situation, you know. But, you know, so that can be unfair as well, is kind of what I'm saying. You know, it's kind of like, you know, because Shaq was so big, guys thought they could just hang on him. No wonder he eventually got pissed off and threw somebody into the 8th row, you know?
Yep.
Like, just because I'm bigger or whatever doesn't mean that you're in danger. You know, do I have a track record of physically harming you?
Right.
If I don't, then, you know, let me be pissed off for a minute.
Right. Yeah. No, that's totally fair. That leads into the next one. Emotional expression. Society often places expectations on men to suppress their emotions or only express certain types of feelings. By learning to identify and express their emotions effectively, men can improve their emotional intelligence and foster a more authentic, healthier relationship. So I think
I hate that. I hate those two words together.
Healthier and authentic?
No. Authentic's great. Authenticity is what I want out of everyone.
Right.
But emotional intelligence.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I hate those two words together. Like, emotion is, I would rather they said something more like emotionally educated rather than emotional intelligence. Because, like,
are you talking about being able to recognize your emotions then?
Yes. But sometimes, you know, people will tell you to control your emotions. Like, I remember when I was going through my divorce, I was a wreck, and my therapist was like, your emotions are all over the place and you're doing nothing to control them.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, am I supposed to suppress them or not?
You
know what I mean? There's so many mixed messages come at us. So, like, to me, the words emotional and intelligence don't go together, because in a lot of ways, to me, intelligence is something you apply logic to.
Yeah, you know,
emotion tends to be void of logic, whether it's a positive or negative emotion.
You really hit something on the head there, because there's been times where sometimes Joshua has been upset about something or whatever, and I will sometimes say to him, you need to control yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing the way you explain that, and then hearing the way I say it to him, if he could control it, he wouldn't be upset.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Yeah, that's That's interesting.
If he had control over it, he wouldn't be acting. Nobody wants to act this way. Nobody wants people to look at him and be like, look at this fucking idiot. Nobody wants to be looked at like that.
Right.
Nobody wants people to think they're unhinged or out of control.
Right.
You know? Especially if they've never given you a reason to think so.
Right.
Like, shit. But I get it. I mean, I get a look on my face. I've been told by many people. My girlfriend's the latest. I get this look on my face that's the same no matter what. I mean, you've seen it on this podcast, I'm sure. I'm not aware of it. I don't know what my face looks like. I don't have a mirror in front of me all the time.
Yeah.
But whether I'm pissed off, annoyed, or making fun of something and I'm not mad about anything, I have this face that looks like I'm pissed off. Yeah. Like I'm dialed in, you know. Like the Iowa State football game this year, before the game started, Keith Murphy and Sipker were down on the field.
Yeah.
And, you know, I sit in the front row.
Yeah.
So I yelled at Keith. Keith comes over and shakes my hand, says hi, and he's like, Jesus, that face. I thought somebody was going to jump down here and kick my ass. And I'm like, I'm so intense for the game to start. But, like, I didn't know my face looked like that.
Yeah.
You know, so.
No, this is.
But you know me, you know what I mean? Like, you know me, you know I'm not.
Well, and I've done that too. There's been times where I've had a reaction or whatever, and the boys are like, and I like, have I ever, or some, you know, even Stacy sometimes will be like, why are you so angry? And I was like,
like you look like you're gonna hit somebody.
Like, I didn't hit anybody? I didn't realize I was angry. I didn't know it. I'm not angry about anything. I just said it in a way that, you know,
I was being assertive.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever.
You know, or I just wanted him to hear me, or I just wanted you to understand. So I was just being a little more direct.
A good example of learning this about myself is something I look back on. And there's been times in my life since then I wish I would have thought about this right here. When I coached my son in Little League, like, you know, I have a voice that's loud and a voice that carries. Well, in Little League especially, like, I know that there are a whole bunch of parents in the stands that know dick about baseball.
Right.
But they're all yelling shit during the game. They're all yelling, throw to whatever base. They're all yelling. Right. And I need the kids to hear me over all of that.
Yep.
And also, I get pumped. Like, I would get so pumped up, and the kids loved it, of course, when I got pumped up or whatever. You know, I was that chest bumping coach and all that shit. But, like, I remember hearing a parent from another team that, like, you know, my teams, we were like about 3 years in a row, we were the best team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And by a lot, you know.
Right.
Well, you know, every team had some decent players on them. And we decided to put together a tournament team out of our kids. And so, you know, me and another guy, coach from another team, where we got a bunch of his kids and my kids and some other ones. And I heard a mom saying to another mom, I didn't hear it, someone told me about it, but a mom saying to another mom that if I broke her kid's spirit by yelling at him, they were gonna have a problem. Well, they weren't on my team. They observed me all year from another point of view. And it was the point of view that they were getting their ass kicked also, by the way. So of course they don't like the loud, boisterous coach, you know, on the other team.
Yeah.
And they would hear me yell at my kids, but I never yelled at them in anger. So, like, that moment right there, I realized, okay, from then on, at the beginning of every season, and I did it the next day, I had that conversation with this team too.
Right.
But at the beginning of every season, I talked to the parents and I said, listen, my volume is purely about being heard. It has nothing to do with anger. Like, I'll never yell at your kid out of anger. I'll yell at them for a lack of effort. That's it. I won't yell at them for making a mistake. Yeah. And I'm like, but most of all, I need them to hear me over you guys because you guys yell a lot of bad advice.
Right.
And so, like, I remember a kid. I remember going out and telling them, you know, don't yell. I had a kid. I told a kid to run the ball in. Shortstop went out to cut off a double. Kid was on first base. I didn't want that kid to score, so I have him running it in. If he chucks the ball to third base, the kid's going to score. Of course, all the parents are yelling, third, and the kid ran it in like I told him to, and they keep yelling, throw it. He did what I wanted him to, and I went out afterwards, and I go, guys, stop. Don't yell bases. He did exactly what I wanted, you know?
Right.
So, like, the point is, that whole long story is to say that I recognize, though, that I looked different than what I meant.
Right.
And so I had to make it clear to them. And I wish I had applied that to other things later. I mean, there's been many times in my life where people think I'm angry at them when I'm not, just because of the look on my face, or, you know, but also my sarcasm, you know, when I'm joking. Like, that's another thing my girlfriend gets on me about. She can't tell when I'm joking. And I'm like, well, that's why it's funny. If you could, I'm like, if you could tell that it's not sarcasm. If you can tell. Like,
I don't know if you know how sarcasm works.
It's like, eventually hopefully you will be able to tell the difference. I mean, I don't know.
The other one,
I smile when I'm fucking with you. And I'm like, well, yeah, I smile eventually, but I'm not fucking with you if I just smile right away.
Yep. The other ones we've kind of touched on. The last one, obviously, why men would get something good out of going to therapy for better parent is to get better parenting skills. Therapy can support men in developing effective parenting strategies, addressing challenges, and fostering positive parent-child relationships, which is what I'm looking to do.
Well, and that's where I think it could be advantageous for them to have the same therapist.
Yeah.
You know,
and there are opportunities that I have sat in with the boys, because there are certain things that I'll see behavior wise or whatever that maybe Stacy doesn't see, or I'll have a different perspective that I think helps as well. So,
yeah. Well, and just also the whole, you know, they're going to say things that you don't know.
Yep.
And he's not going to tell you that, but he's going to be armed with the knowledge, and that'll, you know, it'll be able to, you know, in a more effective way, kind of coach you up or whatever. Does he specialize then with like special needs?
No, I think he specializes specifically for kids, but he's been having them for so long that I think he's kind of transitioned them into adults as well. So
gotcha.
I think he's going to stick with them. So, and I will have my first appointment a couple of days before our next episode, so I'll be able to come back and have a report of how I
actually have therapy tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah, I normally have it on Mondays, but
I really am excited. I mean, I'm not nervous about it. I'm excited because I think it's an opportunity for me to get better. So
yeah, I mean, it's step one.
Yep.
There's still a lot of work. You know, it's not. You know, you don't want to have the notion that you know, it's like I feel better now. You know, it's not.
No, I don't know that it's not a quick fix for me. Because I don't think that there's anything super broken.
Yeah.
It's just for me, I want to treat it as an ongoing thing to be able to work out everyday issues just to be a better dad and husband. So,
well, and they're all different too. I mean, I don't know. My therapist, I don't get a lot of advice from my therapist.
Right.
I get a lot more just questions, which I think, you know, it ends up forming some advice.
Yeah.
As I answer the questions, but it's gonna be a lot of being honest with yourself, and it seems like you're halfway there. I mean, the reasons you're going is some self-reflection.
Yeah.
Some self-reflection.
Yeah, if anything, it's
you're
just
being
a
honest with
matter
yourself about something.
If anything, it's just an opportunity to go to talk to somebody and just talk about things that are weekly or whatever may come up that week or that month. So
yeah, and after you go to therapy for a few months, then we'll get you to eat some shrooms.
That's right. I'm excited for the shroom stage. I can't wait.
We'll watch the thunderstorm.
What? Watch a tornado in my underwear out in the driveway.
We'll dye your beard Iowa State colors.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, a little cardinal and gold action.
Yeah, that would be great.
Or well, you know what we'll do? We'll dye that dumb fucking picket fence into your beard.
Okay. That's Bill Blank, everybody. If you want to go canceling, that's Bill Blank. Bill, I appreciate this podcast, and I appreciate you hopping on.
Absolutely, man.
And talking about
back at you.
So we'll be back in 2 weeks. We've got a new episode of Hot Mess Happy Hour that got launched last week. We have Like Father, Like Daughter tomorrow night. Old Man Strength is recording later this week. And we will start all over again next month. And then we've got a couple new podcasts to announce next month. And we've got a new t-shirt that we're going to push for charity that we'll launch in 2 weeks. So
we got to get ours done.
We do got to get ours. I have a couple ideas. I ran by some of the Mackenzie and Amy to
don't be a bitch, get therapy.
Yes, don't be a dick, go to therapy. Yeah.
There
you go.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll transition into thanking our sponsors, Rob and Christy at Revelton. And we are out of here. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Peace.